Greetings, humanity. Once again, I've been doing a lot of gaming things very recently, both on this channel and on other channels, and that trend is continuing today as we are starting this month's volley of one-shots. We're going to be doing In a Wicked Age, which is a game put out by Vincent Baker, whom you folks may know from Apocalypse World. Long before that, he wrote a game called In a Wicked Age, which is sort of an implied Conan-like sword and sorcery setting, whereby you draw from an oracle that is in the book, and it's basically a list of different elements. And we've actually today we're going to be using the element the unquiet dead, and I've already drawn the elements we're going to be using, which you should see in the over on the overlay to my right. But first, let us introduce these folks. And also, who am I? I am Jim. I use he, him pronouns. And I am going to be attempting to run this game somehow, one way or another. And I'm going to go around and ask everyone to introduce themselves and tell us their favorite film, either in the sword and sorcery genre or in fantasy in general, or just a thing they like, depending on how the brain cells are going today. And let's start with Tim. Tim, hello.
Hi, I'm Tim. I enjoy fantasy of all kinds, but more importantly, I've rediscovered the most hardcore line in any Conan story, and I will share it with you. It's my favorite thing.
Indeed.
And the most ancient race in the world was extinct. That's narration in a Conan story.
Oh my goodness.
No more context necessary.
Nope. Nope. I think that tells us everything we need to know. Everything's headed toward despair, folks.
Yes.
All right.
Maybe for the best.
And we will continue around as though this were a clock and go to Rune.
Hi, I'm Rune. I use they, them pronouns, and my favorite movie that's fantasy is Neverending Story. It shaped me and my whole life, and I'm super stoked to play a game basically based on, like, tarot cards, and hooray!
Excellent. Excellent. Very cool. We're going to be delving into how these oracles work in just a moment. But first, let's continue around the clock to Matthias.
Hi, I'm Matthias, he, him. And I'm going to name Lady Hawk because Rutger Hauer is awesome.
Rutger Hauer is awesome. I saw that movie way too many times as a kid and enjoyed it quite a lot. And finally, we will continue around the clock to Rich. Hello.
Hey, I'm Rich, at Quixotic on Twitter. I use he, him pronouns as well, and I wouldn't necessarily say it's my favorite, but somebody was talking about it recently, and Time Bandits.
Ah!
Great movie.
It is a glorious film. A glorious film. That is one of my favorites, definitely. Just in like any genre. It's hard to pin down exactly what genre Time Bandits is, really, but...
There's swords.
Yeah, there's swords. There's plenty of things that people used to hit each other with in that movie. But it is glorious. Well, we're going to be doing this. Essentially, the way this works, this game works, is that you start out by building your scenario, your starting scenario, and your figure out what characters to play based on these random card draws that you do. Each list that was put into the book, which I should probably pull up my copy of the book so that I know so that I'll have it available just in case. There are 4 of them, and the one we're doing today is the Unquiet Dead. Each item on the list corresponds to a playing card. And so you essentially, if we were around a table, everyone would be drawing these cards and writing these items down. But as this is a somewhat more virtual environment, we went ahead and I went ahead and drew those ahead of time, and again put them up. And so the 4 lines that we have here, we have the soul of a dead wizard, seeking an advantageous rebirth, a murderer for hire, luckless and in poverty, from whom the gods have turned their faces, the convocation of ruins, ghouls, gaunts, and wisps, and the burglary of a magical order's innermost library. So we're going to figure out, based on those lines, what the scenario is going to kind of be and who the characters are, and kind of aim them at each other, and that's how we're going to do this. Let me go ahead and make sure I've got my information pulled up so that I can adequately describe things, as I reread the book a few days ago, and then I played 5 million games and have forgotten everything, so give me just a second to grab that. And let me go there and grab the thing and open the thing, and I now have the thing in front of me. Hooray! So, basically we have a number of potential characters that as suggested by these lines, there's the soul of a dead wizard walking around. There's a murderer walking around. There's members of a convocation of ghouls, gaunts, and wisps. The cool thing about this game is you can play pretty much anything, and the power levels are not really going to matter, because it's more. This game is more about why you're doing things rather than what specifically you're just hitting someone and taking points off. So, members of the convocation, and then there's the burglaries. Whoever's committing a burglary, that's also a possibility. There's a magical order involved. There may be members of that magical order. There's a library. There are all manner of things that we can play with here. So first off, I'm just going to start asking, just going to throw this out there. Do any of these speak to you as potential folks you want to play, or as part of the situation going on?
Well, I think I really like the idea of the ghouls somehow going with the murderer, because ghouls, they eat people. And I was thinking, but what if the murderer was a ghoul hunter, because if people could be turned into ghouls, this guy kills people. I don't know. That was just a thought I had.
You could go either way.
Kills people or ghouls, or both.
There's also those gods that turn their faces away from the murderer.
Yeah, I mean, someone could play one of the gods if they so choose, because that's in the list as well. So that is totally on the table if someone wants to have that as a potential character.
I like the idea. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh. I like the idea of being a junior librarian.
Nice.
Excellent. That's cool. So we've got a librarian character for the magical order.
You gotta have the head of the magical order too, though.
We can definitely have that as a character. Yeah, totally. And someone can, and either it can be a PC or an NPC. It just depends on if anyone wants to play them.
I was leaning towards a rival of the dead wizard who's trying to actually capture the soul of the wizard to make himself more powerful.
Ah, nice. Is the rival of the dead wizard maybe a member of this magical order? Is that could that be the same thing?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay. Is it the head of the order, or is it?
I wonder if maybe the dead wizard was the head of the order.
Ooh, maybe they're in disarray now, they're trying to, or at least maybe there's a. I don't know.
And this is the power grab move or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I guess they got to figure out how do they decide? How do you think they decide their who gets the who gets the staff, basically, or whatever it is.
Well, historically, with secret magical orders, it usually had to do with who was either the most cunning or had the most money.
Yeah, I was kind of picturing this rival had maybe paid that murderer to kill the wizard.
Oh yeah.
And
Yes.
now he's trying to steal something from the library so he can bind the soul of the prior wizard and use that to kind of like explain why he should be the next leader.
Nice. I like this.
Yeah,
And perhaps that. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go on. Sorry.
I was just gonna say perhaps that that librarian is like the person in charge of guarding that item or something.
That could work. That could totally work. So it's like maybe there's just some sort of an object of some kind that the sort of either it grants power or it's a symbol of power at the very least, and you have to like be worthy of it for whatever reason to be able to head the order. And it has not chosen a successor yet, whatever it is.
I like it.
So, I was thinking I kind of maybe this is just rhyming with my fiasco character a little bit from last time I was on this stream, but I was thinking maybe I wouldn't mind playing the murderer.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool, especially taking out wizards and stuff. You know, that's a pretty reasonable thing to do. Seems like a good service to do, but possibly it's bitten him in the ass because now the gods have turned their face from him. When did that happen, by the way?
Sure. Yeah.
I think it's probably maybe it's connected, and maybe it has something to do with why the whatever it is that is supposed to pick the next head wizard, Archmagus or Hierophant or whatever we want to call them, is has fallen silent. Because this is like not how you do these things.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm thinking possibly that's what. Yeah, and the murderer's the assassin really is a murderer for hire. So he's an assassin.
Yeah,
and he obviously didn't get paid either because he's poor. He doesn't have anything.
Yeah,
he was promised a lot of money.
Yes, but didn't get paid.
But the evil wizard hasn't paid him yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, but I need you to do one more thing.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe not the wisest decision for an evil wizard to make, being that I just offed the last wizard who was in your
I don't know how you did it. Maybe you did it while he was sleeping.
Ooh. And your plan is just never to sleep, I guess, huh?
It has to have been a heck of a task, too. I mean, offing a wizard can't necessarily be easy. So
no.
Hopefully he didn't have a death curse.
Yeah,
unless that's what happened.
Maybe that is what happened.
And that's why I'm in such up shit creek now.
Oh, nice.
Maybe things are going horribly wrong for you because the wizard, as you were, spotted you and laid a curse upon you as they were dying.
Yeah. My other thought about the murderer, though, is that his gods turned his face from him. So why would that be? If he's a murderer for hire, he's done this before. So killing one person is not normally going to do that. Yeah.
It's got to be something important about this particular order, this particular wizard. I mean, it could be some kind of. I mean, we could be talking about an order of celestial beings of some kind, or infernal beings. I mean, this could be a. It doesn't specify which gods have turned their faces.
It could very well be maybe that wizard was the progeny of one of the gods.
Yes.
Yes. Like a demigod.
He was like the son of the god of whatever.
Excellent.
The god of pudding.
The god of pudding.
I was going to say the god of butter, but okay. It is.
So I think that's Azathoth. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember which one's the god of pudding. It's whichever one made the Shoggoths. I think that was the.
Oh, actually, no, you're wrong. It was Ignolok.
Oh, okay.
Ignolok is the god of pudding.
Fair enough.
If you ever see if you see a ghostly childlike form descending behind me to tear up my soul, that's what I probably shouldn't have said.
That's how that works sometimes.
Yeah, that's just how it works.
So can two characters like share a descriptor in different ways?
Probably.
Yeah. Probably.
How so?
What are you thinking?
Well, because I was thinking that like if the thing that was stolen, like the artifact
Yeah.
that was stolen from the library, if like my assistant librarian was like trying to like stop it from being stolen, but in the process of trying to stop it getting stolen, the like head librarian also died. So like the assistant librarian is like by accident a murderer.
Ooh.
I like
That's a cool idea. Yeah.
And needs to go and get the artifact somehow to right the wrong.
Interesting. I like
That's
that
awesome.
idea.
Yeah, that's great.
Because they were also like friends, maybe, and he feels bad.
Well, you work together, of course.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
get along. It's a good relationship.
Absolutely. Oh, that works. So you could totally be. It's interesting. I'm wondering if this artifact, whatever it is, I'm of two minds right now, because it's like, on the one hand, my thought is that it might involve the dead or bringing back the dead, or communicating with the dead. These could all be necromancers, for all we know. That could explain the ghouls, or it could be a sentient artifact. It could be something that's like a conduit to the gods.
I was definitely thinking conduit to the gods myself.
That could work.
You know, it could be the way to contact the god who's or even to call forth the god who the archmage was descended from.
It's a god's pager.
Yeah, it's his cell phone. You hit him up on that, comes over and chills.
What are we liking for something like that? Could it be like a pool or a mirror or a
good old orb.
Yeah, I was thinking orb.
Excellent.
Good old glass orb or something.
I kind of like they have that thing that they a gyroscope, I guess you would say.
Oh,
but,
astrolabe.
They fit in it, and they have like all these different spinning pieces to it.
Oh yeah, I forget what those are called, but yeah, that's a good idea.
If it's got little planets on it, that's an orrery, but I can't.
Orrery, that's what I was thinking too.
But I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
Sure. Hey, it sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, it's an orrery, but it doesn't show our solar system. What it does show is the solar system where the gods live.
Ooh.
I like that.
The orrery of the celestial sphere.
So it's the thing from Final Fantasy VII.
Sure. Not familiar with that.
Oh, sorry. Spoiler alert.
No! It's all right.
So who has that thing now? Do we have to know that? Do we know that yet?
Don't go into that lake.
We might not know.
Okay.
It could
maybe
be a
it got
thing that
lost
gets
somewhere in
revealed.
the
It could be
shuffle.
missing.
Yeah.
And I'm picturing something maybe about like the size, a little bit smaller than the sort of globe that you would have like in your office.
Yeah.
Maybe just like something that sat on a pedestal and is not there now.
Right. Sounds good.
And,
So
yeah.
why are the ghouls, gaunts, and wisps congregating because of this thing?
Maybe that was keeping it at bay.
Or possibly they have it and they're all coming together to admire it. Or whatever. Or to access it.
Well, it could be that because maybe that's interesting. Well, I guess because they clearly have an opportunity now, I think, of some kind, because this demigod has been slain, and so
stop me when this sounds familiar. So you've got ghouls who are getting together and they're going to have a feast. This could be for any reason. But then they realize they have an opportunity to put something special on the table. Something maybe that is not just mundane human flesh, but god flesh. Or semi-god flesh, demigod flesh.
So maybe they have the body. Okay, so here's the thought. Maybe,
Maybe I cut a deal. Maybe my character cut a deal with them and delivered the body to them.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That
that sounds like a good idea.
Maybe they were able to help you. They were somehow provided you the means to get. Maybe they know the secret passage into his chamber for whatever horrible reason.
Or they have some kind of ability. Ghouls can be some ghouls are smart, right? It could be.
They could. These ghouls could be, yeah.
That help me survive a mage and kill the wizard.
I mean, yeah, they totally could have. They could have come with you and helped you with the assassination attempt,
or just gave me an invisibility cloak. That'd be cool. I'd rather have that than a bunch of ghouls creeping along behind me. But it's not my decision, I guess.
I mean, it's our decision. We can do whatever we want.
Whatever.
So I mean,
I'm not really that partial to either. It's fine.
Well, I mean, I like the idea that somehow. I also kind of like the idea that somehow the wizard was connected to the ghouls. I feel like. Let me know how this sounds. And if it doesn't sound good, we'll go in another direction. Maybe this wizard in particular, I don't know if the order is, but maybe this wizard either was a necromancer or was in some way connected to maybe a child of a god of the dead.
I like the god of the dead thing. I think that's a good
idea. If the wizard's soul wants to be rebirthed, right? Mm-hmm. Then that's obviously there's something going. There's like a plan that's being executed by the wizard, or that was maybe put in place while he was still alive as a failsafe or something like that. Uh-huh. And now that is working, it's obviously something that other undead would be drawn to. Yeah. Just by instinct.
Yeah.
So it could just be that.
Oh.
It could be something that could turn a ghoul into a human or similar or a super being.
What if, because this is all dealing with like undead stuff, maybe those ghouls kind of live in a cavern below where this stuff is happening, and those ghouls are actually former members of the order?
Yes.
That's how you like kind of still stay alive.
Yeah.
And now that they have a chance to maybe get back to being a human, they're like, ooh.
And maybe ghouls can't use magic, but they all used to.
Yeah, I like that.
This could be a thing also, possibly, if he had a plan that he put in place. Maybe it was just that the ghouls told you that they wanted to eat the body. Or they just told you they wanted the body, and, that... perhaps they want it for a reason.
And the ghouls stiff me. I didn't get paid twice. I got paid 0.
Maybe they want the body so that the ritual can be completed, whatever that is. And he can come back as a more powerful form of undead that can cast spells. Maybe this is how you lich.
I know what I want to play.
You go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I know what I want to play. So... like way back when in ancient times, there was this race of people who were like, I don't know, 10 to 12 foot tall. And they had this vast, huge empire. And they actually managed to not, like, to become immortal. No, they managed to survive death and keep on living. But this was a huge, basically a huge sin to the world. And other forces rose up to bring all of them down and to punish them. And when that empire crumbled, those last priests who were responsible for all of that, they were cursed to basically come back to life to prevent this from ever happening again. And I'm playing one of those priests that now that machinations are in order for someone to actually be rebirthed like that, I wake up as this pile of bones with the only purpose to go and destroy this thing.
Cool.
So I'm walking across the land as a pile of bones that's like 11 feet tall.
I love
or
it.
Maybe,
and I'm coming for the orb.
You mind if I have an idea on that? Maybe not all the priests were destroyed, and maybe that's what the gaunts are. I don't know exactly what they meant by gaunts in the.
Exactly.
Maybe some members of your species are still out there, and those would be the gaunts that are congregating with these ghouls.
Yeah, gaunts can be any number of things depending.
Exactly.
on...
I just an idea there.
Yeah.
Big, skinny, emaciated things, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that could it could be a mix, maybe even.
I mean, perhaps they were not that important, but they are perhaps just another wrinkle.
Yeah, it could be that maybe.
So the wizard dies and his failsafe takes hold, but that triggers another much older failsafe that's supposed to prevent this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that's kind of the motivation that propels my character forward.
Yeah,
I love it.
But I have no idea what this land is. I'm like single-mindedly walking through the lands.
It's like a completely different land now.
Yeah.
Also, you're a skeleton, which is going to be difficult to explain to people. I assume you'll be able to talk, though.
Yeah, I've been looking up. I've been trying to look up Gaunt just to see in it. There, I'm getting all manner of different things, and some of them are like undead with wings, and some of them are.
Okay.
It just varies.
Some of them are Tyranids, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking these things would be called Gaunts just because they were so skinny. They're like Wendigo skinny, like they turn sideways and disappear kind of stuff. Yeah. But that was just my idea.
Let's see, Night Gaunts apparently are.
Lovecraft.
Yeah, that too. Yes. Smooth skin, humanoid shape. Skin is texture smooth. Yeah. Okay. Very dark, very thin, very dark, sort of blackened skin. Very tall creatures with expansive bat-like wings. We don't have to do that, but
let's just cut the wings off.
Yeah, if you don't want to, if you want wings, you can have them totally. Yeah. But
I don't know. They can fly. Who cares?
Yeah. But anyway, not to go down a rabbit hole. But so I mean, we could say that in this iteration that maybe the ghouls are the humans used to be humans. That Gaunts maybe used to be part of this elder race, and there are not that many around. And
I like that idea.
Only one. But only one of them is a reborn priest, whom is just this pile of bones that has arisen.
And he's actually kind of a good guy because he's out to stop this whole necromantic nonsense.
Yeah, actually, yeah. And then of course there are also wisps, which are like ghosts, basically, that hang around the ruins, deep in the caverns beneath the wherever the wizards hang out. Is it a tower? Is it a
I think it's probably a big ass castle with a library and everything built right into it.
Yeah.
Maybe when there's a town nearby, I'm sure.
I'm picturing something like on like the edge of like a cliff, and like the cavern is way below.
Yes.
And there's waves crash against the cliffside.
Of course.
Water beneath, and maybe part of the cave opens to the sea.
Sure.
I love that idea. I think that'd be great. Okay, cool. I think we're starting to get a good handle on what characters we're gonna have. So I think now we can shift into actually making those characters and getting it. I think we have a fairly decent. There's still some details we haven't filled in yet, but we can kind of leap on that as we're sort of sorting it out. It's kind of basically, I think. I don't know. Is the order more of a necromantic order, do we think, or is it more of a general in just the order and the head wizard was doing stuff involving necromancy?
I like the idea that they are necromancers on the side because they all want to become ghouls when they die, kind of thing, or that's kind of just their final stage of their wizardry. But otherwise, they're just wizards.
Yeah.
I mean, Rune, right? Your character is directly out of that order.
Yeah, actually, that's true. And this should be more up to those guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that sounds cool. I also think it sounds like they could be necromancers, but they could study the necromancy in order to like stop the undead from like eating everybody.
Yeah, they could be good necromancers.
But then like it's a very dangerous job.
Temptation is always there.
The ones who like fail become the undead.
Ooh,
like the ones who fall from grace or who die like while they're like trying to do the stuff. So it's kind of like it's like fighting zombies basically.
Yeah.
Like if you fight zombies, you always have the chance of getting bit.
I like this because also then it means that they are essentially guardians of life in that sense. And maybe the death god with whom they are communing also does not like undead. Could be one
Yeah.
of those types of
Yeah, it could
gods.
be Osiris or something like that.
Yeah, like an
A
Osiris
good
type deity.
god. Yeah.
Who
But like
is-
they're not opposed to using undead lackeys to get stuff done because those are under control or something.
I'm sure that there are differing opinions in the order itself.
Sure.
Yes. And so it's just a thing where it's like, the deity communicating through the aura ray was also not, trying to prevent just unchecked undead running around the place, because it's a
And I could
perversion of
definitely-
death.
I could definitely see the god kind of like willing to kind of bend the rules for their kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, no, that my kid was meant to run this, guys.
Well, yeah,
It's nepotism.
that could totally be the case. It's like, no, my child is the only one who knows how to do this properly. It's one of those things where it's like,
I had a thought about the dead wizard that so the dead wizard is kind of sounding like a demigod Jesus kind of character.
yeah,
And it would be interesting if the demigod couldn't really be killed, but could just be killed for a period of time.
ooh,
And if when the wizard woke up again, they were above ground, they were a certain person. But if they woke up again and they were below ground, then they gave power to whoever the undead people were.
Yeah.
So there's
I like
there's
that.
there's another death god, or it could be like a two-headed death god where
oh,
god,
Yeah, where one of them is.
I
Yeah,
love that.
go on. Sorry.
one of them is all about the balance of life and death, and the other one is kill everybody all the time, kind of thing.
No, that's
Certain
awesome.
aspects.
It'd be the struggle of the ghouls are trying to keep the body of the dead wizard underground long enough to turn it into the Antichrist,
I
basically.
love that. That's
That's
awesome.
amazing.
That sounds awesome.
Let's do that. Yes, totally. Okay.
And therefore, this shambling skeleton guy, the priest, the skeleton priest from the old civilization, is going to be. He really is the hero in some ways here. He's trying to save the world from this Antichrist character.
Basically, yeah, because
Or at least that's how the dice seem to be falling.
and the thing is, the cool thing about this game also is that it's really up to personal interpretation.
I'm just imagining it.
But yeah, no, I mean that's the thing. People would totally. There are some who would totally see that character as that. So
he at least has the noble purpose in this case.
yeah, totally, yeah. No, I like these ideas a lot. Okay, so, what am I gonna do? And this is the time when Jim suddenly remembers it would have been a good idea to pull up name generators.
Well, three of us already have names.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Because there are a bunch of names in the back of the In a Wicked Age book, but I know I didn't.
I have a name.
Oh, cool, awesome. Well, let me go ahead then. Let's go ahead and get character generation then, so we can do this thing.
I didn't put it in. Okay.
So let's see. Let me actually look at this thing. Ah, yes, we have names. Excellent. All right. So, I'm looking at a list of of names here. And so, who is Argo?
That's me.
Okay. And Argo is the assistant librarian. Excellent. And who is Kchanimas? Oh, is that Matthias?
Yep.
How do I pronounce that?
That was correct. Kchanimas.
Kchanimas. Okay. All right. And Moray?
Moray the assassin. Moray like the eel.
Yes. I'm going to be typing these in just a moment so that folks watching at home will be able to see these names as well. I just want to write them down because I can only look in so many directions at once. All right. And that means that Yorick Undermine is the wizard. Yes?
Yes.
feel free to come up with whatever titles you would like for this order. And so let's see. So that's what we have here. For folks who may be watching, basically there are 6 stats essentially that folks will have. That are some might call them approaches. You have covertly, directly, for myself, for others, with love, and with violence. Those are the things that you roll when you get into a conflict. And so as you're setting up your characters, as folks will be seeing, these things are already happening. I've got an advantage die in the character sheet in Roll20 as well. That's for when you have advantage. So you're going to leave that as a D6. So you have basically a D12, a D10, a D8, 2 D6s, and a D4 to assign to those stats. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to probably mess up a little bit for folks at home the screen as I open these things up and look at them. But I just want folks to kind of see what it is that I'm looking at here. So we chatted a little bit before we came on about how these sheets work. Does anyone need assistance with setting it up?
I think I'm good.
I think I'm all set.
Okay. Guys, just feel free to go in and basically all you got to do is just change the under each of those stats you change the number behind just what die it is, and you leave everything else the same, but just change the number of die, and that assigns it to that stat. So hopefully we'll be good. And this is basically when I do this, I'm pretty much just on the honor system whenever I do these things with folks' character sheets, and I will assume you're rolling the correct thing.
I don't know how I got a 20.
I don't know. How'd you get a 20 on a D12?
The dice just really like me.
I don't understand it.
Trust me, even if I rolled a D20, I'd probably get a 1.
Yeah. And so now I have to figure out who the NPCs are, and I have to make sheets for them real quick, which I'm just going to roll things individually. NPCs only have 3 stats. They have action, maneuvering, and self-protection, and I just assign those to the various stats they have. So let me see. So let's see. Of the folks, we have the murderer as a PC. We have We haven't decided who the burglar was, but was the burglar also the murderer? Did the murderer steal the orb, or did we decide where the orb is?
It sounds to me like the dead wizard is the artifact.
It might actually be. There may not be an orrery.
But I mean, we could still do it.
I think the burglar would be like the ghouls, right?
Probably. Yeah. Maybe the ghouls took it. That sounds like that's more reasonable. So they have both the body and the orb. That's dangerous. But I like the idea of there still having a means to communicate with the. They still need the means to communicate with the deity, because even if the wizard is the designated person and that's who they want to do, and it's like wait for him to wake up. Well, that's a thought. I mean, the orb going missing means that there's no chance for anyone to say otherwise what's going. The wizards have to decide for themselves what happens, and that might be. So it actually might be good for the for Yorick that the orb is missing. Maybe actually, come to think of it, maybe he took it. I don't know. What do you think?
Maybe.
Or maybe we don't know where it is. Let's just leave it missing. And perhaps it will be revealed. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm good leaving that mysterious. So let's see. So as far as folks I have to create, I think, what am I gonna do? Really, the only NPCs I see us needing here are sort of just in case NPCs, sort of ones where, if certain things happen, you may run into them. So I will create a thing for I'll create stats for a ghoul, and I will create stats for a resurrected demigod. Might actually have to create 2 sets of stats for the resurrected demigod.
There's also the major god.
That is true. That is true. I could stat up the god if that ends up coming up. So let me just throw some dice down real quick here, and virtually speaking, rather, in my head. So.
And I'm wondering if maybe for this demigod's resurrection, it's less that like he takes some time to wake up, and more like you can't destroy his body, but you have to perform a ritual to resurrect him.
Oh yeah.
And who runs the ritual will depend on his alignment.
It'll influence who he is when he's reborn. Yeah. I mean, we were talking about an advantageous rebirth, so that makes sense.
Sure.
Oh yes, I like this.
But to whose advantage? Dun dun dun.
Yes.
Good story, folks.
This is good. Yes. It'd be nice if we could actually play the game, though, at some point. Give me a. Yeah.
Oh, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
It's only been an hour.
Yeah. No, this always takes a while. This part, I've run this game a number of times, not recently, but it always took a good chunk of the session. So that's not a surprise. But it's good that we're almost there. So let's see.
Still takes less time than D&D.
I was gonna say we could play fair. 1 round of combat in this time.
Yes, that's fair. Let's see. I feel like this is an angry god, so I'm going to give him a high action stat. And let's see. Yeah, I like that. Okay. It's weird, but I like it. Okay. And for the demigod, I need to create 2 sets of stats. So, demi-good, demi-bad. Actually, it's not good and bad, really. It's
balance and death.
Life and death.
Yeah, life and death.
Okay. So, action maneuvering, self-protection. Let's see. So the life version of this this one, should they awaken, will be. Let's see. I think they're gonna have a high. Actually, I think they're gonna have a high action stat no matter what they do. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, let's just do it that way. Okay.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking, well, I'm actually curious now because I've never played this game before. If it's what these purposes are about, because I'm still.
Yes, we're going to be getting to that in just.
I'm just talking.
Yeah, sorry, I'm notoriously bad at multitasking here.
You're doing.
I wasn't
a great
really
job.
asking you. I'm just making noise off my gums.
Let me actually read it, because that's going to take a minute for folks to do. So let me go ahead and discuss that a little bit. I'll get into that, and then while you're doing that, I'll finish these stats. Basically, so you have to name your character's best interests, and the way this works is we go around and we name best interests. We each name best interests for a character. Each best interest represents a direct attack on at least one player's character. The way that I like to look at this is it's sort of a staple in writing, especially in writing tragedies. What do you want most in the world? Why can't you have it? And the answer to that question needs to be one of the other PCs. That's basically sort of how I look at it. So we each want to have at least 2 best interests named, and every NPC has to have at least 1 best interest named. And apparently my strongest NPC is might end up having 2 possibly, but it's we'll see. So what I'm gonna do is, I guess, I've got 4 sort of general NPC pools here I'm drawing from, and so I guess I'll start with we'll start with what the deity wants, and I'll name the deity in a bit once I get a chance to hit the name list. But let's see, a best interest that represents a direct attack on one of these characters. Okay, I think. Let's start off with the assassin, because this is an issue. Oh yeah, this is also this was a two-faced deity, we said.
Yeah.
Or a two-faced or two-headed deity. So they could be definitely of 2 minds on this thing. I'm only going to use 1 set of stats because I don't need to confuse myself anymore.
Close enough.
But yeah, what we'll say is that see, a best interest, a good idea for a best interest. It can be like. And it has to be sort of an actionable thing, so a thing that I can do. So it is in, let's see, it is in the God of Death's best interest to see to it that Morai the Assassin suffers for eternity. But actually, that has to be a thing actionable during this thing. So we'll say that it's in their best interest to make sure that
just make him suffer.
Make him suffer.
That's not that hard.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, the chain of suffering begins, and and causes his soul to be paralyzed in some fashion, either realistically or metaphorically. It's in the God of Death's best interest to paralyze Morai's soul. There we go.
Or you could go with the literal thing there, to put him on the chain of suffering, whatever the chain of suffering is.
Oh, the chain of suffering, yes. Oh, yeah, to put Morai in the chains of suffering.
Yeah.
The chains of suffering. The
I don't like the way you laughed just now.
Suffer.
Yeah.
So to imprison, I'll just say imprison or otherwise, to imprison Morai's soul, and we'll figure out what that means as we go. Okay, so that's one of the death god's best interests, and we're going to go around who has one, or who would like to come up with one real quick for one of the other PCs, or a best interest they have that works against one of the other PCs.
Does it have to be against one of the other PCs or just one of the other characters?
It does have to be against a player character.
Okay.
That is how this works. All
right. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have an easy one.
Just say against your fellow players' characters or against the GM's characters freely without any distinction between the two.
Oh wait, it does. Hold on. Watching my. Sorry, I went a little gonzo there. Until everybody, I was reading the wrong paragraph. Thank you for pointing that out. From there, you own the players take turns. At least if every NPC has one, just in front of the can. Oh yeah, you're right. Against I apologize. Okay. So yes, it does not have to be against the other PC's characters.
Because
so forget that I said that.
Aren't any more special than yours.
Yeah, exactly. So in addition to in addition to the PCs that we have available, thank you for reminding. It has been a while since I've run this. It can be any of the PCs, or it can be the god, either aspect of the demigod or the ghouls.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, does this make sense that if Moray wants the demigod to be reborn in the aspect of death so that he will be forgiven or some such. So he's not, because he knows this, perhaps he knows this creature will be reborn, this being will be reborn. And if he knows that, he's like, well, how could he think to get away with this?
Yeah, no, that'd be great. That's fine.
Okay, great.
What were you going to come up with, Rune?
Argo is just going to try to get the orb back.
Okay, no, that definitely, that's good enough. That's definitely facing against some character to be determined.
Yeah.
Because whoever has it, it's definitely against them.
Yeah.
That works.
So Kuchain Imas seeks to prevent the sin of rebirth and to destroy the orb.
Yes.
They
There
will
we go.
want to destroy the orb. Yeah, that's one.
Excellent. And Yorick, does Yorick have a best interest?
Yorick probably wants to keep the demigod from being reborn too, because if he gets reborn, he's going to just get right back where he was. And if he can't stop him from being reborn, he'd rather he get reborn as evil, so the rest of his group will want to go after him instead of raise him back up to the spot of power.
Awesome. Prevent the rebirth. Okay, cool. So, let me go ahead then. I need to actually name at least one interest for each other character that I have here. So, it is in the best interest for the life aspect of the demigod. Let's see. And mine have to represent direct attacks on the PCs.
Well, that one's pretty obvious.
Yeah, that's
two of us don't want him to be reborn as life.
That's the bit that I got confused. So yeah, mine do have to. So let's see. So the life aspected one should he be reborn as the life aspect?
Oh, okay.
It will be in their best interest because I don't know how sentient they are right now. Let's see. I already aimed at Morai, so let's aim at Yorick. It will be in the life aspected demigod's best interest to discredit and have Yorick dismissed from the order.
Destroyed.
Or even destroyed. Entirely possible.
Who knows?
It is a wicked age, so the life aspect, to strip Yorick of his powers. I think that's the one that we want.
I think an alternate or like secondary best interest for Yorick would also be to silence Moray from talking, since he hired him to kill this demigod.
That works.
Oh shit. Here I thought we might be on the same side for somewhere on some level, but I guess not.
Yep.
Well, if you get caught and people start questioning you, I don't want that you pointing fingers at me.
Oh, no luck for me.
Yep.
So I guess maybe it's in my best interest to finish you off before you can take me out.
If you think of that.
Yeah, maybe I don't. I probably don't suspect you yet.
You're like, but I won't get paid if I kill him.
Well, I didn't get paid, stiff.
Well, if you kill me, you definitely won't get paid.
I can take your stuff.
That's fair.
I'm only an amateur burglar, though. I'm a professional assassin.
Yeah, I feel like if you were a professional burglar, you wouldn't be as poor as you are.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be a problem.
It's a rough life being a professional assassin.
Oh, nice.
So apparently the death god doesn't pay.
No, it's the ghouls paid me, or didn't pay me. They hired me too.
Yeah.
So I stole the body for the ghouls.
I mean, who would sign a contract with a ghoul?
I'm assuming there wasn't paper, or hopefully not.
It was on a sheet of something.
Yeah, well, I didn't sign it on my own blood. I want the testimony to see that.
There was a written contract on something that looked kind of like vellum.
Or at least was the same, generally the same shade.
Yes, that's right.
They just had really nice suits, and you just couldn't say no to the suits.
That's right.
Well, I'm assuming my assassin's also dedicated to the death god. That's the thing. I mean, he's actually worshipped this god, who now doesn't like him.
Yep. No, you screwed up.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad mistake. Yes, he's not that smart. That's the big thing about Moray.
Wait, what's the exact wording of the god's line?
The god's line from the oracle or his or their best interest.
From the oracle.
From the oracle. Well, no, it just says from whom the gods have turned their faces.
Okay. Here's the thing.
Oh,
if it's a two-headed god, one face could be on this side, one face could be on this side. So it literally turns the face.
Oh,
I love that.
Two-faced deity, yes.
I love that. That's awesome. Yes. So they've so neither aspect of the god is
pleased with me. Yes.
Pleased with you because it's like, you screwed up the whole thing. It was going to go one way or the other. Now it's going to go neither.
It's also that while the dead wizard is like asleep or whatever, maybe the god like is literally standing sideways, waiting to find out which face is supposed to go forward. So literally, they turn their face from everybody.
And it could be an idol. It could be a statue or a similar thing in the fortress of the wizards that has that's doing the same thing.
Oh yes.
I like that. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay.
It's like in the central entry hall. The main entryway, and everyone walks in, sees, oh no.
So like whatever deity this demigod is kind of like beholden to is the face that faces forward. I like that.
Yeah.
No, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be good. Okay. So that means that,
more best interests, right?
Yeah, we need more best interests. So we've got Yorick has 2 already. Moray was sort of working on a second one, which we're not sure whether.
I'm thinking maybe my best interest would actually be to end this order because they're not going to be happy with me if this guy's going to wake up one way or the other. Maybe if I could find some way to sabotage the order, that's kind of a big one. I don't think I'll be able to do that, but there you go.
So you want to do so it's in your best interest to
what I want
sabotage
is
the
to make sure they never find the communication orrery, the orb.
Yeah.
Make sure that just remains lost forever.
Yeah,
that'd be direct opposition to what's your character's name again, Rune?
Argo,
yeah.
Because Argo wants to find the
exactly. I'm just gonna kick it down a well or something. That's my goal. Or maybe I just want it for. Maybe Moray could easily keep, if I could keep it, I would keep it for myself.
Yeah. Can you imagine how much that thing's worth?
Well, yeah, that'd be nice. But I could also use it to save my immortal soul potential.
No, that too. Yeah.
By communicating with the deity.
Hold it hostage. Do whatever.
But the question is, can you communicate with the deity while while one of the faces isn't turned forward?
I would assume not.
Yeah, it's gonna. You probably can't. You can text the deity, but they're not going to look at their phone for a while. That's basically
depending on which face it is, it can be a totally different attitude.
Yeah.
You get the instant messenger away message.
Yeah.
It's just some like obscure quote from a movie.
Totally.
Or somebody else on the other side, one of the other creatures that lives in the divine realm answers instead, because they're sitting at the deity's computer or something.
Your prayer is important to us. Please hold.
I was imagining more like a little sibling or something, a demon or something that's like, I'm just going to roll my eyes at you, send you emoticons.
Yeah, the receptionist demon is harsh.
The herald angel of death.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. No, the angel of death. Yeah. See, I'm so glad we have Matthias with us to actually say things that make sense, because I have no clue what I'm doing. So let's see. I think it's in the because I'm supposed to just sort of jump in and do these things. The death aspect of the demigod, should they be the one that awakes, I think it is in their interest to make sure K'chain-Imas returns to the pile of bones from whence they came.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so this is interesting. It's in K'chain-Imas' best interest to throw off the chains of suffering and to find actual death, and whatever that means in this age.
Ooh,
yeah.
interesting.
That works very well with my next best interest, which is to end individual suffering.
That sounds like a good interest for all of us.
Big goal.
Yeah, how is that going to work?
For
though?
everyone, basically? Is that the idea?
Well,
I mean,
it's
young
kind of-
librarians are idealists, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How are you planning to
Perfect.
do it?
No, it works.
I mean,
It works. I just
yeah.
am curious.
Sure.
I love it.
No, that
Now, if we weren't bitter enemies, I could see that being a useful thing for me. But never mind.
yeah. Well, that works. No,
We're
that,
definitely at cross purposes.
that works against a bunch of people's interests because they want to cause suffering. So that works totally. And so there's only one more I need to write down, and just for the ghouls in general, what they want. And I think we had said that the ghouls are the ghouls want the
want the
death
death to be
aspect.
rewarded.
They want the so we know what the ghouls want. So that I think works well enough.
What do the ghouls want?
Well, that's true. I mean, they want that. Well, on the surface, they want the death aspect to come back.
Okay.
Because then they'll be favored. Perhaps that will allow them to return to the surface world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like based on what we've kind of compiled with all this, that like those ghouls were secret worshippers of the death aspect. So when they died, they got resurrected as ghouls.
Yeah.
And so now, if they can get the death aspect into power, they can come back as humans.
Yep. That works for me. That's I think that's what we have here. Okay, so let me.
Being human wasn't so great to begin with, right?
Yeah. Foolish
Better than
humans.
being a ghoul, I bet.
I'm gonna grab some names real quick, so hopefully, so that from this list. So I'm gonna name the. There are a bunch of things on this list from. There are Babylonian names, there are Persian and Assyrian names, and sort of Berber, Amazi list. And so I'm grabbing kind of from there, and I think I'm gonna twist the. I'm also gonna twist them a little bit. I think I'm gonna name the god is Shamash-Andul, and it's hyphenated. One half is Shamash, the other half is Andul.
Oh,
Which
I
is
like
which?
That's cool. Are you writing that down anywhere where we can see it and reference?
That would be helpful, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice if I did that? I should probably do that. I should also actually add your characters' names to the overlay so folks can see them. What I'll do is let me go ahead and type it on. I'm going to type it in Roll20 over on the left. And I have forgotten how to do that.
So which of those is the death aspect?
I think the death. Well, I think my brain goes to say Shamash is the death aspect and Andul is the life aspect.
Sounds good. I just wanted to be sure so I could refer properly.
Sure, absolutely. Death/life, and I think that I'm not going to give the ghouls names, but I should probably name the wizard. And we don't really. I haven't specified the wizard's gender yet. I don't think we have, and I'm thinking maybe just it's a. I think it could be just a they.
Yeah.
Because it's a
Demigod.
Yeah, it's a demigod. So this kind of goes beyond what mortals might see. Let's see. So I think I'm going to go with Erish, which I will type here.
All Argo is a huge Erish fan.
Excellent. All right.
I'm gonna also add in a little thing that I don't know if we would get to in RPing, but I'm gonna say that Yorick is actually a half sibling of Erish,
Oh
but all human.
Oh,
So they share the same mother.
excellent.
So he's like super jealous of Erish.
Yes.
So you folks are
Use
gonna.
all your aggression.
Okay, I'm gonna actually write your names down here so that we have them on the thing. Which, and let's see, and so Yorish, got Yorick Undermine. I've got Tim's character is Morai, the assassin. Assassino. And we've got Diaz's character, the Kachanimas. And then we have Rune's character is Argo. Excellent. Okay. So, that being set up, we are actually we are approximately almost at so we're at the point I think we can start. We're at about the halfway point, more or less, also in the broadcast, oddly enough, but you know, these things happen. Do we want to go ahead and take a break before we get into the RP proper and do that?
Sure.
That sounds good to me.
Alrighty.
Do abilities as part of the, not abilities, but the strengths as part of the RP part?
Oh yeah, strengths.
Strength. Oh, right, particular strength. Yes, thank you once again for reminding me of things that. This is why I give everyone the information about the rules ahead of time, so that they can remind me of things that fall out of my head all the time. Thank you. No, it's just one tries to throw these things out to help help others and ourselves. So yes, particular strengths that every character has a particular strength. What that means is there is a thing that you're really good at. It can be mundane or supernatural. When you do anything involving that, you basically you use it with that involves you have to use a particular form with it, that is a thing that helps you out mechanically, which I will figure out what that means. It's basically another. I believe it's another die you get to roll. I'll confirm that during the break. It gets either usually a D8, or if you get a potent one, it's a D10. There's a list of different things you can do with that particular strength. It can be potent, which would mean it's a D10 instead of a D8 that you get for it. It could be broad, which means it can be used with more than one of the two forms, the two approaches that we've been talking about. It can be consequential, which means that basically it says you would list a form of your choice and an NPC of your choice, and when your character uses the strength, she's threatening her enemy in that form above and beyond. So I mean, they're usually when there's a conflict, that means that if you lose a conflict, then you knock off some of your stats. Your stats go down. And so that's and that pretty much is how it signals how close you are to being out of the running of the narrative. So that's a thing. It could be unique, which means that no one else in the universe has anything like it. Or it can be far-reaching, which means you can use it beyond just, where your immediate reach. It can be something that's that you can use at a distance in one way or another. That could be like a scrying type ability, or it could be something like a teleportation type ability. Who knows? But something this distance. Yes, so they are fairly abstract, but when you use those, you actually get to roll that die, I believe. I'll double check this, but you get to roll that die along with your other dice, which gives you a greater chance of succeeding. Because whenever you do this, you pick a couple of forms and you roll, and you take whatever's the highest number. Whatever one gets the highest number, that's the roll you want. So that's what we're looking at here.
Okay.
So, yeah, that basically, if you guys have thoughts about your particular strengths that you might want.
I'm thinking Yorick is really good at getting people to do what he wants. So whether that's through magical means or something. So I feel like that would be kind of a broad ability where like he uses it for himself and covertly.
Sure, absolutely.
So
manipulation, perhaps.
I think Moray is good with knives, so that would be just violence, maybe potent.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it means that you're really, whenever you're using your knives and it's you're using it with violence, then you get you get a D10 in addition to the other dice roll. Yeah.
All right.
And anyone else have thoughts about what they want their particular strength to be?
Oh, go ahead.
Being potent in destroying a certain specific orb.
Orb destruction.
Or maybe just an undead.
Well, I mean, you could broaden it to destroying arcane artifacts. Yeah.
Arcane artifacts.
So you could do that. That would be cool. Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
All right. And again, you pick a form that goes with that. Rune, did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, Argo, this is going to be Argo can do kind of divine choir singing.
Nice.
That sort of imbues the area with divine peace power.
Oh, I love it.
So it kind of, I don't know if that's too broad, because it could be either like healing or like turn undead kind of stuff. Or...
I kind of like the idea, though, of there being just sort of like a thing that does a calming influence, and perhaps that could mean healing. I think I'm okay with leaving it kind of vague. What about you folks?
Yeah, I'm good with that. That sounds awesome.
What I was envisioning it as is that like they don't have necessarily a lot of control over what's going to happen. It's kind of just like they do the singing and the divine power comes and just kind of brings people peace based on what their like higher self needs.
Yeah.
This is some like new age woo woo stuff.
Well, still though, it's not bad. No, that still works because there are a number of different ways you could use that. So I like that. I like the idea of that you have an inner peace, a song of inner peace that you can use essentially, or songs of inner peace, however you want to set that up. I like that. All right, cool. I think we've got then our stuff sorted out for our characters, so we'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we will get into playing and hopefully see some stuff happening. So we will see you shortly.
Yay.
All right, we are back, and we are going to try playing this thing and see what happens. So, in a wicked age, as they say, we have a large sort of castle on top of a cliff, overlooking a village. Down at the bottom of the cliff, and within we have ruins that could go into the cliff, and various pathways in and out. And as the ocean crashes up against it, we are nearing a time of twilight, and on the battlements of this castle, there are two individuals standing. As within, the castle is in chaos, as wizards are running around trying to figure out what to do, and those that are still alive. On the battlements, one of the elders of the order, Yorick Undermine, stands, also talking to Argo, who is now the de facto head librarian. For there are no other librarians left alive at this point.
Argo is very nervous.
There are many things. There are many things currently on fire. There are problems. There may be an Antichrist coming. There is known to be there is an assassin running around somewhere. Either they have not yet found, but they know he's around somewhere. He could be descending into the catacombs. It's hard to know. They're trying to find out. And also in the distance, people in the village seem to be running and shuttering their homes, as there's a great from what can be seen through various arcane means. There is a device there, not unlike a spyglass, that shows that there's a figure exceeding 10 feet tall, made of bone, that appears to be shambling toward the castle. So you two who are standing atop it, wearing chains, wearing chains, no less. What are you folks atop the castle doing?
So we're on top of the castle, right?
Yes, you are. You are there. You've just seen there are two problems immediately going on at the moment.
So I assume that Argo knows that Yorick. Yeah, I mean, is it safe to assume that Yorick is kind of badass if Yorick is an elder wizard, or at least appears badass?
I'd say he's probably most of this time kind of like asked for power, but he doesn't like flaunt his abilities, you know? He's kind of like a behind the scenes type of guy, but he's definitely an imposing figure.
Okay. So Argo is definitely not an imposing figure. Argo is a small mongrel of a librarian's assistant, and just kind of looks at the skeleton and looks at Yorick and goes, "Are you gonna do something about that?"
Am I going to do something about that? No.
Can't you like throw fireballs or something?
Of course I can throw fireballs. It's
Well,
not my thing, though.
It's a skeleton. I mean, I read a book once that if you light the skeletons on fire, they'll go away.
Really?
I'm little.
I understand that.
I
And
don't have a lot of magic.
You've already dropped the ball. You lost the orb.
Well, if they gave us more funds for staff, we're pretty understaffed in the library, and I've been sending letters to HR for a little while to get more people down there, because it's just Like, I mean, I have ADD, and it's really hard to pay attention to like multiple things at once. And there's lots of things in the library.
Yeah.
So why did they put the most powerful artifact that we have that's most special to our order in the most accessible place in the castle?
You watch a bunch of books. They don't move. Neither does the artifact. How do you lose something that sits still?
Have you ever read a book?
I've read many books.
Well, then you know that books move everywhere. They move to Fantasia, and they move to other lands. It's great, but you're a powerful wizard, so please go kill the skeleton.
We don't. That's the village's problem.
Yeah, there's like in the village, maybe like 2 or 3 who have like mustered some courage together and got out some pitchforks, or maybe one of them even has like a spear and like trying to confront me. And as they do, I just like step over them. Maybe one of them is like gets their spear that they like inherited from their grandfather, who went off to warn the militia, stuck in my rib cage, and it just splinters off. Right, I just step over them and continue on.
See, they're doing fine. They don't need our help. I'm more concerned about finding Erish's body.
Okay, well, I mean,
why don't you go and do that?
Okay. I mean, I do have to do everything I'm told by my superior, so I will go do that. So I walk downstairs, scurry down, and I kind of like try to avoid all of the people who are like putting out the fires and make my way out of the castle and find a map to the catacombs. Because I'm from the library, so do I know?
Oh yeah. You can find out how to get down to the catacombs. That's not a problem.
Okay, cool. And I kind of say, I hate Yorick. And then,
I heard that.
No, you didn't.
Oh boy.
And then I kind of like pack a little bag with like a lunch sack, and I hope I don't die. Excellent. And then I scurry down.
Okay. So Argo is heading down to try to find the body. He suspects that it's in the catacombs somewhere. Meanwhile, Morai the assassin is where?
In the catacombs.
In the catacombs, excellent.
Complaining about how the ghouls don't pay very well. Only the rats and stuff that live down there.
Okay, so you're complaining to the rats rather than the ghouls specifically. Then.
Yeah. I wouldn't talk back to the ghouls. That's not. There's no future in that.
Okay. Do you have?
Not when there's so many of them.
So there is a.
And I'm plotting, of course. I'm plotting to go to make sure that orb remains missing. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but I need to find it and toss it into the sea before anyone else can.
Yeah, definitely.
That's on top of course, making sure that the ghouls get their way.
Well, certainly. Which is, they're working on stuff. But something you do note as this is going on, you're a fairly stealthy individual. Mm-hmm. So you've picked up a certain knack for this. You kind of can tell that someone is coming. Appears to be coming down into the catacombs. So it looks like someone has finally thought to look down here.
Okay, I'm going to blend into the shadows of one wall and watch for them to go by, with one of my knives ready just in case.
I hope nobody sees me. I'm in the darkness.
Just as a preface before we get into any sort of conflict. Conflict only happens when a PC tries to do something that one of the other PCs doesn't want to happen, or one of the NPCs if they come into play. So it's only when you try to stop someone from doing something that we actually go to the dice.
Okay.
So we can negotiate anything and everything up through then. It's entirely up to how we want to narrate this up until we decide that it's time for conflict. First off, do you think that do we think that Morai sees Argo as they go by?
Well, I think Argo's got to have some kind of light, and I probably doused my light when I heard him coming. So, the catacombs. It's not going to be able to see anything down there without some kind of candle or something.
Argo is also talking to themselves.
Be pretty obvious. Yeah.
Okay. You definitely see this this sort of young wizard just coming down through the catacombs, looking around.
I start picking up rocks and moving them, seeing if I see anything underneath.
Okay.
They basically put me in the library because I was too stupid to.
Well, I'm gonna watch him do that for a little bit, and then I'm going to go. Moray doesn't think that this guy is a threat, but he is a wizard, and the ghouls aren't going to be much of a match for a wizard. So I'm going to sneak down, or they're not going to be a match for a wizard because I assume they can't use magic, right?
Yeah, I think we established that. Yeah,
they can't use magic. So I'm going to, and especially if the wizard gets a drop on them, we all know how dangerous a prepared wizard can be against it. Is shock and awe. So Moray's going to try to sneak down into the depths and to warn the ghouls about this guy because I'm trying to make sure that they get their way.
Okay. So my question is, just to be certain, I would like to ask both Tim and Rune, who is going to get down there? Well, actually, let me rephrase that. Do we think, and this is just something that can be decided by you folks, because this is not necessarily, we're not in conflict yet. Is Argo going to find something? Rune, do you think Argo is going to find something?
I definitely think Argo is not going to find the orb. I think it's possible that while they're searching around between all these rocks, that maybe they find some either bones or rags or something, or like leftover pieces of grime that would be left over from the gaunts or ghosts or whatever. That kind of makes them go like, oh, there's probably bad stuff down there, but not anything like super important. And
okay.
I think it's definitely within the realm of possibilities that Moray would get back down there first.
Okay. Do you think ultimately Argo's going to end up down there as well, or are they going to turn around, or what do you think they're going to do?
I think Argo is more afraid of Yorick than they are of whatever's down in the cavern.
Of the dark.
So Argo's definitely going to go down.
Okay. All right. So Moray's taken off and is heading down, and is going to end up in the ghoul area first, and we will come back to the catacombs in a moment. Now let us transition back to the surface. Shane has been working their way through the town. You've encountered a little bit of resistance, but the villagers are not really significant, either physically or to this narrative. So they are not able to affect you very much.
I think I would reach like the castle and the castle gates, and then go right, knocking for someone to open up.
Hey, Yorick. Somebody's knocking on your door.
At my door?
Well, your gate, your castle gate, the front door. Somebody's knocking. Right.
So
now,
Yorick is gonna turn to some of the other wizards And they're like,
Do you see what's happening down there? Go get rid of him.
It's already dead. What? How can we get rid of something that's already dead?
You disassembled it. Destroy it. I don't care.
Starts,
It cannot interrupt our search for Erish.
Oh, very well. All right. So while they're heading down to try to take care of this terrifying thing from the past that was never thought to have existed again, what is Yorick up to?
he's gonna hearing that they're. Have we heard that the assassin's still around, or?
Yeah, I mean you definitely you haven't caught him yet. You know that there's
Okay,
yeah.
So he's gonna go searching for Murray because he's like, well, I don't want anybody to question him. So now is the chance in the chaos to silence him.
Yeah. So it is known that the wizard is dead. It is also known that the body has gone missing, basically.
Yeah.
So you're starting to head down, and are you also heading down to the catacombs, or?
If he would know that that's probably where Murray would be, then yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if they set that as a meeting place or something.
Or you arranged for me to sneak in through the catacombs.
Oh, yeah. So you probably
figure that's where I'm leaving from, too.
You might have a faster way down there, actually.
Probably.
Possibly. So Yorick might be able to get down there pretty quickly from up here. Maybe there's like a secret teleportation circle or, elevator-like thing or whatever.
A dumbwaiter. Very large.
Very large dumbwaiter. So whilst that's happening, let's see what happens at the front gate.
So I don't know how you want to play this, but if they're like super hesitant and this is taking time, there's going to be the point where Kachane, where we see this mass of bones, like their shoulders slump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not opening the door. There's that much. Yeah.
And then I turn around and walk off like 50 or so of my paces.
Mm-hmm.
Then turn around again. Like it looks first like, okay, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And then I turn around again. And then I'm gonna take a run against the door.
Excellent.
Against the gate. And I think on the first try, this is really a thing where I crash against the gate. And from the inside, we see like the crossbeam is like groaning, aching under the stress, right? And from the front, we see like them like crushing their entire arm and shoulder and breaking up against the gate, and then pushing themselves off again with one arm and the other arm reassembling to walk back 50 paces and take another run at the door.
So if I may just add one tiny detail that I think is going to be delightful. So as you run up, and when you first hit the front door, there was this little flash of energy that didn't affect you, but you saw that this is essentially this whole place is enchanted.
It's a magically enforced,
Yes, this whole place is a sort of a magical device, if you will, so. On the inside, you've got wizards with like wands and staves and rods at the ready. A group of them. They're like, okay, what's going on? And they see the wood splinter there, and they're like, no, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. He'll never break through the magical wards. And then the doors burst open on your second try.
Yes.
And you see before you these this handful, maybe half a dozen, terrified wizards of various ages. Pointing at you, and they And the one in front with the longer beard says, "Halt."
Did we have a name for the orb?
It is the orrery of the celestial sphere.
The orrery of the celestial sphere. Okay,
You want me to
nice.
write it down in the thing?
Yeah, somewhere.
There you go.
Okay. I mean, yes, I've halted, and there's this pause where I seemingly look around the courtyard and then refocus on the head wizard there who spoke up. And I say, I am here for the orrery of the celestial sphere.
They kind of look at each other. We don't have it.
It is here.
No, it's not. It's gone. It's gone. It's not here anymore. It's gone. It was in the library. It's not here anymore.
We can feel it. It must be here. Or someone who knows where it is here.
And they sort of look at each other.
Like lean down, and we get this close, like my face close to the wizards, right? You're the one who has say here.
Yeah. Let's just say yes for the simplicity. Yes, sure, yes, right, yes, certainly.
Right at this time,
As he has the longest beard.
Yorick actually contacts him
Yeah.
through a message spell
Uh-huh.
because he's one of the guys he sent down. He's like, "What?
Did you destroy it yet?
We're working on it.
Work harder."
Working on what?
Just working on the trying to figure out why you want the orb. He says, message spell still active.
He's like,
What? You're not talking? Why are you talking to it? Just destroy it.
he's trying to convince them just start firing spells at it.
They're like, but we cannot let you pass. Leave this place.
No warnings.
Once I have taken the orrery of the celestial sphere, I will leave.
All right. I think at this point, they're going to. Shall we do this? I don't know. Yeah, I think at this point they're going to try to stop you. Although actually, I don't know. You haven't done anything yet. So they're standing fast, and they do not, and they're insisting they don't know where it is.
Can Yorick roll to convince them against their will to fire on him?
I mean, if you. If you want to, yeah, basically, if you don't have to necessarily even roll to it. If you want them to just go ahead and fire on him, then we'll have that happen.
Okay. Yeah, he's kind of commanding them,
Just fire on him. What are you doing?
Okay, so they're going to engage with you and attempt to destroy you. So now I think we're going to go ahead and go to the dice. If that is where we are here. I assume you do not wish them to destroy you. So we're going to go to our let's go to our summary sheet here and see how we get through this. Okay.
No,
so
I will destroy them, at the first sign of aggression.
Okay. So to begin the round, everybody rolls dice for their forms according to their character's actions and including dice for particular strengths as appropriate. So what do you want to use for this? This is going to be their if you're going to destroy them in retaliation for them attempting to destroy you, I'm assuming one of them's going to be with violence.
Right, and I get to pick 2, right?
Yes.
And this is super, like I'm saying, this is super straightforward. So I want to use directly.
Okay, directly and with violence.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to use self-preservation because that is really what they're trying to do right now. These wizards' stats are highest in self-preservation. I'm just going to say that right now, just so you're aware.
Sounds like wizards to me.
That's how wizards roll, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So the way this works, we're all going to roll dice for our forms and figure out whose is highest, and that tells us who gets whose move it is first.
Cool. So I just click the 2 buttons, or?
Yeah. So you click the one, then the other, and hopefully that'll do it. So you got an 8 and a 6. I myself, actually, I've got a sheet I can access right here. That I will go ahead and...
Yeah, try to beat my 86.
Yeah.
That's how we read those, right?
I actually did not include that sheet. I should make one for myself. I'm just going to roll dice. Okay. So let's see. I've got a D10 and a D12.
Oh, they're pretty good at staying alive, these wizards.
I guess so.
Yeah, that's their main concern. Not so much.
I guess not.
Okay, so it's your move. So they're trying to do. You can see they're trying to fire spells at you, so you get the move to decide what you're going to try to do to these folks. What do you want to do?
I mean, the first one ahead for me just gets his skull crushed by my hand, flung into the others. And I move on into the main building of the castle.
All right, so they're going to try to. So they're going to try to answer that. So I pick my dice up again, and I re-roll to try, and I have to try to beat your roll, which is an 8 and a 6. So that's they also do not get a move this turn because they had to answer. So I roll again, and this time I got a 10 and a 5. So since that beats you but does not double you, that means that we're both still in the fight.
Okay.
You also were. What's your highest die that you were rolling with?
Hang
on, I can see it. It's a D12?
D12,
You
yeah.
had a D12 and a D10. I also had a D12 and a D10. Okay, so you do not get no one gets an advantage die from this. Okay.
And I think this probably looks like they are moving from direct damage spells to stuff like binding, like trying to keep me rooted, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Actually,
I'm like ripping out parts of the
courtyard.
Of the courtyard and throwing bricks of stones at them and parts of the wall, and
So I'm sorry, I was reading. I'm thinking about the O list. So no one goes on the O list, but they actually do get the advantage because they're still in it, and they got above you. So they get so they're going to get an advantage die. The advantage in the next round. I believe we roll again for the next round. So what they do is you do crush the first one. Since we have a bunch of disposable wizards, kill as many as you like, and they're just not all dead yet. So they pull back, and a couple of them point their wands forward and invoke this a magical sort of cage to try to surround you with. It's sort of a force field that they're trying to encompass you in right now, or at least to keep you from getting further. They don't get it up enough to keep you completely surrounded, but they are keeping you from getting further into the castle for the time being. Okay, round 2. We roll our dice again, and I roll with an advantage die. Okay, so you got a 4 and a 7. All right. And my best roll is a 9, so they are actually retaining advantage. So it's their move. So their roll is you're going to be trying to beat a 9 in your answer to it. So yes, they actually push forward to wall you in with this wall of force and are preparing fire spells to rain down into it. And it is your answer. What do you want to do to respond to that?
I grab because I'm literally thinking this is a cage, right?
Yeah.
Out of but just it's not metal, it's magical energies.
Yes.
But I actually grab the beams of the cage and try to collapse it.
All right.
And just pull it apart and throw it back at them. So questions here, does my strength get to pass because I'm destroying an arcane thingy?
I think,
or is that too
I think
too
technically
much
it's
stretch?
I think technically according to the rules wouldn't work that way, but I'm going to go ahead and say yes. So go ahead and include that die in your response roll here, in your answer roll.
So that's directly with violence and nope.
Okay. So let's see. You are. Oh, and they in your answer they have doubled the. They have doubled your. They have basically more than double your roll. Your highest roll was a 4, so that does mean they're going to successfully trap you, and start raining fire down upon you. So that actually. Actually, the second round that does sort of push them to outright knocking you out of the conflict. So they're going to reduce. So we can either negotiate here, or what they're going to do is they're either going to exhaust you, or they're going to what's the other one?
Just injured.
Injure or exhaust you. I think that they are probably going to look toward injuring you, unless you want to negotiate a different outcome.
What's the difference?
It's the stats that. Let me go ahead and pull up the character sheet here so I see. Yeah, if exhausted, that means it's going to reduce your with violence indirectly. If injured, that will reduce your covertly and for others.
Okay. So they are injuring me.
Yeah, so they're going to go for injuring unless you want to try to negotiate something else.
That's cool.
So reduce each of those 2 stats by 1 die type, and let me know if you hit if were either of those a D4.
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. Covertly and for others, right?
Yes.
Yep, it's fine.
Okay, so you're still in. So for the time being, what they managed to do. You're not out of the narrative, but what they've done is they have knocked you, let's say, into a state where it looks as though you are inert.
They have me contained in their magical cage in the courtyard.
Yeah.
That looks like...
Yeah. And they found that
right.
they can't destroy you outright, but it seems like they've got you contained for now. And so that's what's happening up top. We're going to go back. We're going to go down below. As this has been going on, to a clandestine meeting deep in the catacombs, between Yorick and Moray, and there is what kind of room are you in right now in the catacombs?
No, I think because I was going to warn the ghouls.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're probably in one of their chambers under the catacombs almost.
Excellent.
One of their upper rooms, yeah.
So this is a room that, let's say this was a dining hall at one time.
Yes.
And there are a bunch of sort of old rotted tables and things of that nature down here, but and there is a stone table that is still up. That's the only functioning table still there, and there are a number of ghouls here, sort of clustered around, some of them gnawing on flesh. Some of them are just sort of doing other things, or they're just sort of watching you intently as this is going on. Is Yorick down with the ghouls, or is he not down with the ghouls?
I don't think he's a big fan of the ghouls.
Okay.
I would assume it would be one of those things where they planned to meet somewhere else, but Moray wasn't there, so Yorick went searching for him and found him here, and he's like, ugh. Okay. So you as you get out of the magical dumbwaiter, to seek him out, you kind of figure out what room he's in, and you realize it's in the dining hall, which is where some of the ghouls congregate. And you're looking out there, and you see that, yep, sure enough, there's some of them there, kind of hanging out, and Moray has entered the room.
Yeah, I'm gonna immediately go and warn the ghouls and tell them about the librarian poking around upstairs.
All right.
And perhaps they should send someone to dispatch him.
Okay. Does Yorick observe this?
Yeah, I'd say he comes in another door and like kind of steps back when he sees Moray talking to the ghouls.
Okay. All right. So they just sort of they look and they're like, yes. And they just sort of, you see that one of the head ghouls goes up and they just start sort of they're talking to each other, and they come forward. We go, and a bunch of them leave the room. They just sort of they head out. And
Pack of ghouls going your way, Argo.
And so there are only a couple of them left in the room, and they're just sort of hanging out in the corner, doing a crossword puzzle. So they've gone off in some direction or other.
Yeah. I think Moray notices Yorick with the door open, just standing there.
He's like, he thought he was hiding, but obviously not very well.
Yeah. Well, you're a wizard. How sneaky are you?
I don't know. I picked
depends.
pretty high for my
you're
covertly action, so he's gonna step in the room now and be like,
What are you doing? Why are you consorting with this filth?
I'm ensuring that Erish is reborn in the aspect of Shamash. Of course.
That wasn't part of the plan. You were supposed to kill him. We were going to meet here, and then you were going to leave.
I know, but I felt the gods' displeasure with my actions. I fear the god, unlike you, wizard.
I fear no god.
Perhaps you should.
well, as he says, he's kind of like looking around, like, I hope he didn't hear that.
No, the god's
I've
cell
heard
phone
wizards
is not
are
present.
wise.
So.
I've heard wizards are wise. Perhaps you would do well to respect this higher entities.
Why don't you leave and I'll make sure you're paid well for your endeavors.
Oh boy. Sorry, thinking out loud here. I don't think Moray trusts the York very much. He's kind of, because you can't trust a non-believer. I don't know. I don't know what he tries to. He's going to do about this though. Give me half now, and perhaps I will leave.
That wasn't part of the deal. I'm not going to give you half of the money and then have you just disappear.
A third then. I've done the deed.
I don't have it on me, okay?
Perhaps you should return to the
outside of
Get it.
If I disappear for a while after Erish's death, it's going to look suspicious.
Then what are you doing down here in the first place?
I said I was looking for his body. By the way, what did you do with his body?
The ghouls have it down below.
Why the hell would you give it to the ghouls?
Because they're ready with coin.
Wait, what?
They paid me in advance. But not only a small advance. It's not going to be nearly enough to leave these shores for good.
Double dipping.
Yorick's gonna look towards the ghouls and say,
hey, look, I found that librarian that is lurking down here, and he points to Moray,
and then like kind of casts a spell on the ghouls to convince them that he's the one that they're supposed to be looking for.
Well, I'm obviously going to try to stop him.
Okay.
In fact, I mean, can I tell he's casting a spell, I guess?
I would say that that's up to how we do this in the narrative.
Yeah,
sure.
That's what I'm asking. Yeah.
I mean, it's...
if it's just like the power of his voice, then probably not.
It seems to me... Well, how would this spell be manifested, do you think?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like since he's practicing manipulation, that it would be a lot of subtle movements where it wouldn't be him just like waving his hand like a Jedi. It would be more kind of like maybe a hand down by his side doing some finger things as he says certain words that like, yeah, maybe his voice booms a little bit more, but I don't think it would be necessarily like,
yeah, probably can't
shit,
stop
this
him
guy's
from doing this. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what's going to happen then is that as this conversation is going on, two of these ghouls just sort of put down their crossword puzzle, and they just start to they just sort of and I don't know if you even know this. Maury might notice this, but they just sort of stop. They just sort of look at him, and then they scamper out of the room.
What did you tell them to do?
Did you hear?
I already sent a party after the librarian.
I get. So you didn't notice that I was like pointing at you?
I assume not.
Okay. I
assume he totally went over my head, especially because the ghouls ran off in another direction, right?
Speaking of which, let's shift real quick.
Sure.
So Argo, you're heading down. You're finding more pathway. You found a pathway down. And you hear footfalls. You think there's sounds of like animals or something scampering, and it's getting closer.
I like look around for something to hide behind, but everything is rubble, and I try to see if I can like pile up a bunch of rocks real quick together to make like a bigger rock that I can like hide behind, but I can't get the rocks to all stay up in formation. So then I just kind of like I mean, I assume I have a light sword. Can I do like little magic that's not my strength?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Okay, I have like a little finger flame light spell thing going on. Yeah. And I just kind of like creep forward because I'm super scared, but also like I love Erish so much and I want to save them and find the orb so I can make everybody happy. So I'm just kind of like creeping forward.
Okay. Yeah, you're in at this point. It looks like an underground. It's weird because it's almost a mirror of the, sort of one thing you did notice while you're trying to move rocks around is that this is kind of like the courtyard up on the surface. It's a lot like it. It's not quite a mirror of it, but it's very close to the way that it would look up there, and everything's pretty much in the same place, or was in the same place. You think when it was not falling apart, as the one up there, kind of almost as though they were. It looks kind of like they have built the castle up top based on the same designs as this one down here. It's very strange.
This isn't creepy at all.
Although, actually, you being a well-read individual, there's a chance you might understand the significance of that. So that's I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah, I don't really remember.
Okay.
I can only remember 3 books at a time.
Oh, okay. All right. So this was not among the 3 then, I expect. So you have you're not really. So you tried to hide, and you've decided you were hiding unsuccessfully. So. From around the corner, coming up the through these through a passageway leading further down, you see these gray hands come around the side of an archway, and this slightly snouted, elongated face of a ghoul, followed by about half a dozen more, are starting to creep out into the courtyard.
I take a step back.
Okay.
And then I take another step back.
They're going to start approaching. They're going to get closer.
I'm taking quicker steps back. I'm running.
Okay. So you are trying to... you run, and they are going to pursue you. So you are trying, presumably, to get away from them, I would assume.
Yeah.
Let's take care of that.
Okay.
And I think in the middle of this conflict, I may do some intercutting. We'll see if we can do that. The book suggests intercutting, but we'll see how this goes. So, what strengths are you using here?
I guess I'm going to use directly and for myself.
Strengths, which I think directly and for yourself. No worries.
I think that makes sense.
Let's see. The ghouls here are actually they're doing this is a more direct action, so they're so that's what they're going to use, which they're not great at. So go ahead and roll those.
Okay.
All right. Ooh, not great.
What did I get? I can't see.
You got a 4 was your highest total there.
Oh, okay.
But then I don't have. But I did just beat you, as I got a 5 on one of my dice. So it's their move.
Okay.
So as you're running deeper into the catacombs, into the into the under palace and the under castle, a couple of ghouls circle around and attempt to intercept you. And what is your answer to that? What do you want to try to do?
I'm just trying to scamper away as fast as I can. Are these the regular size ones, or are they taller?
These are the regular ones. These are regular
Okay,
ghouls.
cool. So I'm just trying to run. If it's a courtyard, yeah, there's nothing really there. Okay. I'm just trying to run as fast.
Well, yeah, there are hallways. It's actually a lot like the castle up top. So anything that's up there is down here. Okay,
cool. So I'm trying to run, and I'm kind of trying to dart from side to side, much like a deer.
Okay.
And I'm also just screaming.
All right. Go ahead and re-roll your directly and for myself.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Almost. You they just barely get the advantage.
Okay.
Because you have they had a 5 and a 3, you had a 5 and a 2.
Okay.
If you had a 5 and a 4, then or a 5 and a 3, they would have had to have re-rolled.
Yeah.
So they've got advantage for the next round. So you run and scream, but they manage to. But you're still in it. Let me see here. Also, just checking. Okay, and you're not really okay. So you don't go on the O list. They get the advantage. All right. So they do manage to circle around, and as you are trying to get around, they manage to block an exit. So you have to change directions, and it looks like they're trying to herd you down a particular path. And you do see that this place, it's like the castle upstairs, except it goes down instead of going up, if that makes sense. Each successive floor. Like the second floor is the second floor below instead of the second floor above, that kind of thing.
It's the upside down.
Exactly, in a way.
Yeah.
All right, so next round, we're going to go ahead and roll again to sort of see what what order we're going in. So,
okay, am I allowed to do something else, or am I like?
What do you want to do?
I would want to, since they seem to be kind of closing in on me. I would want to try and like calm down, stop being so afraid, and see that they are like undead creatures, and I'm gonna try to sing to them.
Okay. So, would this require you changing which forms you're using here? Do you want to?
Yeah, it would be with love for others.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna negotiate that they've got you, and we're switching into a different conflict.
Okay.
Is kind of how I'd like to see this. So we'll say that they've got you kind of closed off, but now you're trying to keep them from attacking you at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's fine. So new thing is about to start. Before we get to it, though,
okay, cool.
Hold on to that. I just want to pop back up top real quick where crazy things are happening, or might be about to. So up top, it seems as though, Kachane, so you're sort of coming back to yourself there, sitting in the sort of in this cage that they've created, and you've noticed that the wizards have gotten distracted by something that is happening in the castle. They seem to be there. There is like a shout of something, and they're like turning and they're running. So it looks as though they're just sort of leaving you. They're abandoning you there in the cage. What would you like to do?
If they're abandoning, well, I wait till they've left, and then I would take down the cage.
All right. So yeah, you concentrate and you tear it open.
Yeah.
And it dissipates when you do that.
And then I think I straighten myself and then hold very still and trying to feel out what's basically my very, very, very remote cousins and kin, like the other undead are.
Okay. You get a sense of where they are. Yes. The Gaunts are down there. They seem to be waiting for something.
Yeah, and I start moving in their direction.
Okay. It is once again stuff. It's down sort of in the catacomb area. Coincidentally enough, as you move through the castle, you see a lot of dead wizards. They seem to be fighting. They seem to be fighting a small horde of ghouls that has found its way to the surface. As apparently there is there seems to be rather a lot of them now that have come up. They seem to be rather impassioned about the idea of there being some sort of death thing going on right now. Apparently they're interpreting the will of their of their hopeful coming Messiah, and so there's a lot of chaos going on up here right now. But you turn and you sort of find a path down, and you sort of are looking, and you think, okay, well, there's actually a path that goes down the side of this cliff that probably will get you there faster than if you tried to go through the catacombs.
Yeah.
Because
I'm heading that way. Yeah.
If you remember right, and This was a very long time ago, but if you remember right, there is a cave that goes directly to where you want to go. So you head down. You start heading down that way. Now, back in the dining chamber, you folks have been arguing a bit, and Yorick, you hear what sounds like a lot more scrabbling going on. As there seem to be many footfalls of things approaching. Moray, you also hear this as well. And some louder stomping. What are you doing?
Well, I don't trust you, wizard.
Smart man wouldn't.
So we appear to be at an impasse.
Maybe we could negotiate some stuff further.
Such as?
I have all the power. Why would
Do
I
you?
open negotiations?
Why would you? Because you value your life?
I'm not afraid of you.
Perhaps you should be. Erish wasn't afraid of me either.
Yes, but Erish was asleep when I sent you to kill him.
What were they now?
They were supposed to be.
It was more difficult than I expected. I wasn't able to get the orb.
Obviously, I realize that now, and that's an easy reason why would I pay you for a job half done?
The
Okay,
more I
then.
hear this conversation, I feel as though Yorick actually took the orb.
Yeah, maybe he has the orb. Yeah.
But I don't know. We don't know yet. So I'm sorry, I interrupted. What are you doing?
No, actually, I don't know.
Just kill him.
That's where my mind was going.
I'm just trying
Yeah.
to stall until the ghouls come back.
I think I'm gonna try to kill Yorick. Yeah,
All right.
I'm gonna draw a dagger and try to stab him.
All right. Well, that's a thing we got to deal with. So let's do that.
Nice.
So what forms are you using?
I mean, Yorick can say yes to this.
Oh yeah, you can
That's
say
true.
yes if you want him to stab you.
No, I'm not gonna let him kill me.
Okay. In that case, you might want to then. What forms
Let's
do you
see. Well, I'm definitely using with violence here,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like probably directly.
Okay.
I assume I would
Well, of
use.
course, I'm using my specialty as well, my particular strength.
Okay.
I would assume I would use for myself, and I don't know for defense what I would use. Like,
Let's
would that
see.
also be directly?
Well, it depends on why you're doing it. It could be directly. Let me go back to the sheet here real quick. Directly, covertly, with violence, with love, for myself, for others. There are a number of different ways you could be defending yourself. What do you want to do, sort of in reaction to him trying to kill you?
I feel like, this would be a Yorick thing. I feel like he would create like a copy of himself and then try to teleport away from there, so
Sounds
that
like
Moray
covertly.
would attack the copy.
Sounds like for myself and covertly to me.
There we go. I like that.
Yeah. All right. So go ahead and roll those things, and let's see who's got the initiative here.
Oof.
Oof.
Oh, that didn't work out well.
Okay. So
And those are my highest dies.
you're rolling against an 11 here. First off, Morai, what are you? It's your move. What are you doing to?
I'm going to grab the real wizard and try to drive the dagger down into his chest.
Okay, so it's one of those cinematic things where it's like there's you aiming toward the copy, and then you spin around, and he's behind you, and you
Yes.
start doing that. Okay, and so now Yorick, you must answer. What do you want to do in response to that?
Told you should have been afraid.
Yeah. Shit. I think I'd probably put up like a energy shield or something to try to deflect the dagger.
Okay.
So probably directly in for myself.
It's typically the same. You're still using the same dice for the challenge.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's still going to be covertly and for myself.
All right, so then maybe I would change it to I'd create multiple copies of myself now.
Sure.
Hopefully that he's
The
just
old mirror image
different.
And you could be just sort of doing it in a way that he doesn't necessarily see.
Shit, of course I had a crit on the D10.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Okay.
High roll is just not high enough.
Yeah. So, but you're still in it. So, in what happens to? And I've been forgetting to use this. What happens where you fail, but you're still in it? What do you think happens, Yorick?
I fail, but I'm still in it.
Yeah.
Maybe he just disperses the duplicate copies and is able to like hold his like. I don't know if you're trying to stab me or if you're maybe just hold the knife to the throat to threaten.
No, I'm trying to stab you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really any good at not killing people.
Okay, then maybe you just cut
But possibly all I did was get a hold of you, right? Like because the knives are pretty small, right? I didn't actually stab you at this point, that's for sure.
You could have because of the multiple copies and stuff, maybe you caught some of the robe and entangled me with that.
Yeah, that's good. Maybe you tripped and fell over.
Oh, that could work too.
Yeah, like I pinned your robe to the floor by accident or something while I was stabbing one of your copies.
I like it.
So you're aware, Morai, since we're continuing to a second round and you were rolling against higher dice, you go on the O list, which means that either your character in one form or another narratively will survive till the end of this, or you can cash that in for another advantage die. However,
do I get one advantage die to start with?
It's not an advantage die. It was your particular strength, the die of your. So it's either a D8 or a D10, depending on how you what did you take for your particular strength?
Potent skilled
so
with
that's
knives.
a D10, right?
Yeah, that's what I rolled before. Yeah.
So you should have rolled so directly is a D6, with violence is a D12. You should have also rolled a D10.
I did. That was my advantage down there. I made it.
That
separate.
was a D6.
The advantage die is a D6.
Was?
It's wired.
Oh,
as
whoops!
a D6.
I rolled the wrong one. Whoops.
Yeah, so I should have put in I didn't put in a stat for
I made that
strength.
stat. I just rolled the wrong die, actually.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I made a skilled with knives stat.
But in any case, you still have an advantage. You have an advantage die now, so you have the option of rolling 4 dice.
I think I'll do that
in the next round if you.
I'm feeling murderous.
Yeah. I mean 5 if you want to kill yourself off the O list, but that's.
I'm going to keep myself on the O list.
Okay. All right. So next round, you're kind of Yorick, I believe, is kind of pinned right now, but he's still in it.
Yeah.
So go ahead and folks roll off, and we'll see what's happening.
Ooh, I'm pretty violent.
Very violent, yes.
Oh,
with
God.
Knives there. Oh, okay, cool. You put one in. That's good. Okay, covertly. And for myself. Okay, so once again, it's going to be Tim's move.
Okay.
So what do you want to do?
I'll draw the boot knife that I keep, the extra knife, and while I've got him pinned, and stab him with that up higher. Yeah.
Okay, and Yorick, what is your answer to that? To him trying to do that?
I think he'd try to like slip out of the robe to get away.
Okay, very good. So go ahead and pick your dice back up. And I don't know if you can beat an 11, but you can at least stay in.
I have my for myself is a D12, so
okay,
I have a chance.
Give it a shot.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth rolling the covertly because it's a D10, but whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
All right. So that actually is... Oh, he doubled you.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means that he wins outright. So you get to negotiate kind of how you want this to end. Or he can just either injure or exhaust you. And that's up to him.
Well, if I'm going to injure him, I would injure his spellcasting hand. The one he used to set those ghouls on me, and maybe I noticed that he was using some kind of spell there or something, or I know how he casts magic.
Okay. So you want to injure him?
Injured, what? I don't know which one it would be.
Injured
Damage
is
his ability to
covertly and
cast spells.
injured is covertly and for others. Exhausted is directly and with violence.
Yeah, I'll definitely do the exhausted, actually.
Okay. So he basically, what do you do to sort of to wear him out? Essentially, it's not so much that you've injured him as you've just worn him out and he's no longer.
I'll just wrestle him to the ground and hold him there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've got the knife to his throat now. We'll
Okay.
say I've reconsidered murdering him, perhaps.
All right. So you're directly and you're with violence. Each go down a die type.
All right. So directly goes down to a D4, and with violence, you said.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And as you've reconsidered killing him, and as you hear you hear these things approaching, and things come into the room. Some of them very tall. And before we get to that, let's flip back to Argo real quick. So you are singing to these ghouls in an effort to try to get them to calm down and not eat you. And they stop for a moment as they hear the song. And one of them just sort of looks over at you and sort of shuffles a little closer. How do you do that?
I don't technically stop singing because the way that I sing is that like I let out a note and I kind of grab it with my hand and that kind of loops the note so I can be like kind of thing to make the thing keep happening.
Nice.
And so I'm holding the note.
You missed your calling, librarian.
Kind of reverberating out with like this light, and I say, I can do this because I can care about people even if they want to hurt me.
They look at each other. They look at you. And they say, and the one in front says, we are waiting for Shamash. You know this, yes?
I think I've figured it out.
When Shamash comes, we can learn this. If you show us, we will not harm you. Yes?
I'm rolling a die for myself.
Okay.
I can show you how to be compassionate.
To make the song. Can you show us how to make the song?
Yes, I can show you how to make the song. But you can only make the song
Each other. They look back, sorry.
with love. How much power do you want?
We do not want power, we want peace.
I can give that to you. Or I can try.
I'm trying to remember what it was that the ghouls were told in the first place about the librarian. That
they were supposed to apprehend the librarian and stop them from getting downstairs. I think.
stop them from getting. Well, I mean that, yes, but why? But what was the motivation? What did they think the librarian was trying to do?
Trying to stop the ritual, probably.
Stop the ritual. Okay, all right, okay.
I don't think anything was really said.
That's probably true. It's possible. It's just like there's a librarian.
Right. So the lead ghoul will say, "All right, You come with us.
Sure.
We will not harm you as we come into the new age.
Are they like, we have this?
Kind of. So they will. They don't. So they don't try to confine you or anything because they kind of figure that it's not going to matter. And they start to lead you down. So. Into the banquet hall. I see we've only got a couple minutes left, so into the banquet hall comes several of the several gaunts, whom the ghouls had ran out and talked to because it's like, oh crap, the librarian's actually here, they think. And they were going to come back with a bunch more to try, but then, the gaunts are like... And as they just sort of step into the room and they form a sort of a circle around the two of you and the table. And these very tall, very, very sort of dark creatures. And they're just sort of staring.
What are you doing? What did you tell them? I look at Yorick.
We are waiting.
Waiting for what?
And at that moment, there's a shuffling, and through a large and old, seemingly disused passage comes a tall, bony figure.
Oh, shit.
Yes, destroy him.
No.
What do you mean, no?
They look, they say, now we must decide.
I gave you a command.
And the gaunts just sort of are looking at each other, and it's like, you have no power here.
That is correct. I hold the knife closer to Yorick's throat.
We must decide whether the future will be one of life or of death.
Oh, neither. I stride a little bit forward. I think the ghoul, it's very clear to the ghouls what my nature is.
Yeah. You think you can destroy this thing? This orb?
These sins must be ended. It must be over. For you, for us. That is what I offer.
But who has the orb? None of us have the orb.
So I think at that point, a group of ghouls come in, and come in leading Argo.
He's just like,
and they, as is sort of coming in, the gaunts just sort of look over, and then they look back to Kashane. They say, "How do we know the world will be in good hands when we are gone?"
We don't. But we won't have to worry about it anymore.
And the lead ghoul that was that led in Argo says, this one says he can teach us peace.
The only peace is found in death. True death.
Ah, excellent. All right.
I wanna. How about this, right? Because this is like the argument is directly between Kachane and Argo.
Mm-hmm. In a way.
Maybe we put it to like I feel that's a conflict there.
We could do that. Where it's just basically a question of philosophical sort of. Normally, this is done based on just actions rather than thoughts, but I like the idea of deciding the overall. This is going to be a thing that the time span is a little longer. It's the philosophical debate among everyone, the ghouls and the gaunts and the.
Or like this like the debate doesn't need to be super long.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything has already been said.
Yes, exactly. This sort of just represents how this comes out and what direction it goes in, and ultimately might decide who ends up with the orb. So let's do this. Yeah, let's go ahead and see, and let's use the rules to see if we can bend them in this direction. I like that idea. Okay, so Shane, what are you using, and Argo, what are you using?
Well, I'm using for myself and with love.
Argo, by the way, is being coached a little bit by the ghouls if need be. So he has help. So they have help. Sorry. So for yourself and with love, what's Argo using?
For others with love.
For others with love. Oh no, I like this. Okay, roll those things. Okay.
Oh wow!
Man. Okay.
Yes, I think that's.
It's gonna be Argo's move technically. So, but I'm gonna apply this to more of a narrative thing, if I may, and ask, what do you think happens that Argo inspires here?
Well, I don't know necessarily what Argo isn't really making a big philosophical debate. Argo just wants everybody to go to the place that they most need to be. Okay. And for some of those people, that is being dead. And for some of those people, that's being far away and having money and a place to sleep. And for some of those people, that is maybe letting go of some of the jealousies that they have for a sibling. And
that's a feel-good sword-and-sorcery ending.
That's
potentially.
It's kind of beyond the scope of the conflict, though.
Well, it's kind of things are moving in that direction, perhaps, but that's you still get to answer.
Yeah, Argo is like smaller than the bigger conversation.
Yes.
So that kind of means that like they are just like they just want it to be over so that everyone can be at peace.
All right.
And that's just kind of the place where they're at, and they're just like, why are you guys still like alive? Let's just like let it go. If you don't want to be here anymore, then like I can help you go back.
You know what's strange is that's kind of also sounds like what Kachane wants, but to an extent. But
I can't go back without destroying. Yeah. That's the whole thing.
Well,
I've got the chains of suffering on me.
Well,
that I can't remove myself. But
I might be able to sing a bit and see what happens to those.
Yeah,
chains.
but in this conflict, what I'm hearing is that the ghouls side with you.
Well, Kachane gets to answer before.
And my answer is well, the answer is a violent one, right? I'm seeing like the ghouls throwing themselves at me to protect Argo from me.
You also did for myself and with love, so you can still use those if you want. Just basically for your answer, you can roll those and see what you get.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that does knock you out of the conflict, unfortunately, since it's not at least half of 12, which they rolled. So
What Argo was saying, right? It sounds like that some of the ghouls are willing to sacrifice themselves for the others and die here against Kachane, and that will like keep me busy for Argo and the rest of the ghouls to get away with the sphere.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Is that does that sound okay to you, Rune?
Well, Argo doesn't want anybody to go and fight Kachane. Like,
okay.
The point of Argo is...
But Kachane will, right?
Yeah, but that's the point, is that, like, Argo can see the chains. Like, Argo can, like, see, like, that there's... Like, Argo... Like, there's a thing about... like undead and ghouls and like stuff, is that there's like pain in that, like, and Argo doesn't want that pain to continue for people.
That's it's nice that you want things, but I don't think Argo has the means of taking away the chains from Kachane.
Argo goes into a rendition of Beyonce's "I Can See Your Halo," and uses the magical singing strength to bring peace and end suffering to everybody in the room.
Do we actually have the sphere? Sorry, is it somebody have the orb?
Well, that's the funny thing. We never decided who actually has it. So I think, unless anyone stops me, I'm going to just say something.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, do it.
I think what happens at this point is that we guessed that I think we'd guessed that either the ghouls had the orb or possibly Yorick had the orb somewhere. It was one of those two things, so I kind of think the idea here is that that the orb is nearby, because at this point I think that Shamash-Andul turns their face. Because since Argo got the won outright that conflict, the orb is just going to appear, hovering over the table, because Erish also had planned for this contingency and caused the orb to go missing until the time of their parthenogenesis.
I like it.
Yeah. Perfect.
Now, the thing is, the body is still down here.
Oh, yeah.
So the ritual but the ritual is not permitted to be complete because everyone's because all the forces are sort of scuffling. So a sort of peace does come to everyone, I think. All right. Sort of peace does come to everyone, as everything descends into as a two-headed deity appears, the image of one standing above the table. The Erish rises, showing the aspect of the death deity, but not perhaps the attitude. They wave their hand, and I think basically everyone who does not at this point try to get away collapses and is destroyed.
Yikes!
Shit.
So we know Moray gets away because he's on the O list.
Yes.
Who else gets away? Anyone?
Can I help? Is that my decision? I don't know.
What is the O list?
Oh, I had an advantage, and I didn't take it to finish the job.
Oh, okay.
Well, it wasn't so much the advantage, but he was rolling against higher dice.
Yes.
So I'm actually going to let everyone decide. Does first of all, does Kachane survive?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Kachane is not alive.
No, he returns to his rest, perhaps, though.
Yeah, perhaps we don't see what happens
to his
Kachane.
endless suffering. You mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah, endless suffering, whatever.
Do we see what happens to? Do we see what happens to Yorick?
Yeah, I think based off of what Argo had done, he kind of had already collapsed to his knees and is like crying a little bit because he's upset, but he's kind of realized that, like, he's like just blubbering like, my mother always liked Erish better than me.
It's not my fault that I wanted to kill him.
And so like he's there's no way he has a chance to get away.
All right, so
Thinking about getting away, I don't even know if he even noticed what was happening.
does he? Does he die, or does he become a ghoul, or what do you think happens to him?
I think becoming a ghoul is perfect for him.
Yeah, I think he becomes a ghoul too. Yeah. That's awesome.
What happens to Argo?
When Argo sees Erish and the god, Argo probably falls to their knees and starts praying, like pray singing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm really not sure if they would die or not. They would definitely at least get like knocked unconscious.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure.
I think since the ghouls already promised not to harm Argo, that they probably will follow through on that. And actually, they got what they wanted. So, after a fashion, perhaps the ritual was not perfect. But I think that is where we will go ahead and draw the situation to a close. We already are over a little bit, so I am sorry about that. So we're going to go ahead and run through the outros and just sort of get this done. Thank you, folks, very much for playing. I very much appreciate it. I'm going to go counterclockwise, and I will start this time with Matthias. Matthias, what did you think of this game? How are you doing? And where can folks find you if they want to find you online?
This was super fun. I really loved the world building that we did, and there's so much to explore about it. A lot of potential in the system, and I'm glad I got to play it finally. So thanks for having me. You can find me at MTHSBLGR on Tuesday on Pro Restarters channel next, and here again in 2 weeks' time on Saturday for the second session of Cold Ruins of Last Life.
Yes. More undead! Excellent. And going counterclockwise, so Rune, same question. How are you doing, and where can we find you?
This was great. I also really like the world building stuff. I'm excited to go like draw all of these things. And you all were really great at like world building and like playing your characters and stuff. And I really enjoyed the like collaborative narrative thing. Like this system is really great. People can find me on Twitter at Rune Magic with 2 U's and an extra K at the end. And check out my mixtape.
Excellent. And Tim.
So I just want to add, Moray will survive by handing the orb to the new reborn avatar. And then, so as to be forgiven. Anyway.
Excellent. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to
Otherwise, how else am I
ask you
supposed to escape?
Yeah.
But you can find me at mentalcellarpublications.com. I've got podcasts, I've got books. You can find my books on Amazon. Spells of the Curtain, Court Mage is book 1. And I had a good time playing. Sorry, that's just the plugs. I had an excellent time playing this game. It was a lot of fun, and I love the world building just like everyone else. And actually, you guys are all great. You play good characters.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for playing. And finally, Rich, how you doing? And what'd you think? And where can folks find you?
This was really fun. It didn't work out at all like I planned, which is usually some of the best things in games. I really liked the compassionate stuff that Argo brought. That was a really unique twist to what normal games tend to do, where it's just like, let's kill everything.
Yeah.
So that was really, really a nice twist. You can find me on Twitter at Quixotic. That's KWIKSOTIC. And then every Tuesday night, or most Tuesday nights, you can find me on the Greyhawk channel. I play in a game called The Dying Kingdom. And then I don't have an exact date, but I will be also appearing in an audio drama. That's going to be like a thriller type horror thing. So I'll post that on my Twitter more when I have more exact information. But
awesome. Very cool. Looking forward to that. That's great. Well, folks, and as for me, once again, I'm Jim Ryan. Thank you very much for watching. It was much appreciated. I haven't run into Wicked Age in quite a while, so I'm glad I got to knock the dust off. And we're going to be back next week with more. Another group. And what happened in this session will affect the next session. Yep. And I will get into that a little bit with some folks offline. But we'll see what happens with the group next week that turns up for another chapter. For that oracle we'll be doing, and also again on the weekends here, Fridays afternoons, Saturday mornings, still doing video games. This next coming weekend, that'll be basically all that's happening. It won't be until the weekend after we'll have another episode of Colder Ruins of Last Life. We'll do that then. In the meantime, also I'm on Tuesday nights. I'm on Off the Table playing Urban Shadows, which is also very cool. So I think with that we shall say adieu. Take care, folks. Thank you for watching. I will see you all of a sudden.
Take it easy, everybody.